Hey everyone, it's Meghan with Sawgrass, and I'm very happy to be back. For those of you who follow us regularly, I was out of town last week. Mr. Jimmy Lamb took over Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live. So I am happy to say, kind of, who doesn't like to be on vacation? But I'm happy to say I'm back from vacation and ready to work. So, I saw there was a huge trend that blew up last week when I was gone, the Peekaboo sublimation T-shirts. And of course, here at Sawgrass, we love a good trend. So I decided, why not us do it ourselves? So I asked you all yesterday on Facebook, what do you prefer? It's August. Should we do one last summer design or jump ahead into fall? And summer did win out. So we are going to be using a summer design today with our Peekaboo T-shirt. So let's get started because there are a lot of steps to this and I want to make sure that we get everything in and don't take too long. And of course, as always, I am monitoring questions and comments via Facebook. So if you have any, please let me know. So let's get started. We're going to go to sawgrassinc.com and head right into Creative Studio. And I don't have the plug for that. So, Sebastian, can you hand me over there? Thank you. That's always something I tend to forget because the intern has to do something, right? So I might as well make him go get a cord. It's that black and blue one. And people are starting to say hi. Hi, Aunt Karen. That is it. Here, I can grab it from you. Thank you, Sebastian. Everyone give a round of applause to Sebastian, my wonderful assistant. Sebastian, we may consider paying you for that, so thank you. So, yeah, Lori said I blame Jimmy. Jimmy moved it. Yes, I would love to blame Jimmy too. So let's blame Jimmy. So, we are headed to sawgrassinc.com into Creative Studio. And we are working with the SG-1000 today, so we are going to be using a 11 by 17 blank canvas. So we're going to go to Design Canvases. I'm going to type in 11. 11 by 17 portrait mode is what we want. Sebastian, people are giving you actual hands. That's so funny. So I want to go into Designs. And our summer design collection is pretty close to the top here. And we have a lot of new summer designs that went into Creative Studio this year, but I am actually throwing it back to an older design that's been in here for a few years now. I want to go to, I believe, page 13 to this design. It's got a lot of color, it's fun. When it comes to these Peekaboo T-shirts, I was doing some experimenting yesterday. And I found that they work best with a bold design with as little text as possible because those little shreds of shirt are running across and tend to kind of overlap on words and make it hard to read. So my experience is the less to read and the less intricate design, probably the better. We like a good splash of color and a hero image. So that's what we're going to be working with here today. And I want to make this background take up the entire design canvas. But as you can see, it's kind of broken up into sections. So I'm going to select all, make that larger, unselect all, select my piece heart, shrink it up a little bit, and that is it. Because when it comes to this design in particular and today's project, it's not about the design. The design, yes, is important, but what I really want to focus on is how we are making this shirt because there are a lot of steps to it. So I'm going to go ahead and print. I'm going to use polyester because we are actually going to be printing this onto a sheet of polyester fabric. And Vivid is my color mode because there is no photograph involved in this, and it's a graphic that I want the colors to pop. So let's get this printed so that we can go on to the fun part. So while this goes to print, The interesting thing about this type of t-shirt that we're going to be making is it gives you a chance to utilize cotton with sublimation, which you normally are not able to do. Let me just adjust my layout here and press print. There we go. So what we are working with here today is a dark colored cotton t-shirt. Now, as all of you know, there are two big rules with sublimation. Number one, works best on 100% polyester items. This is cotton, and we're not using easy subli vinyl. Also, one rule of thumb is works best with light colors because our inks are translucent. This is black. So normally, if we were trying to sublimate a design on this t-shirt, it wouldn't work. You would not see it. But because of the way we're going to be working with this today, you're able to utilize cotton t-shirts. Excuse me. Because what we're going to be doing is taking a piece of white polyester fabric, sublimating onto this, cutting some holes in our shirt, and adhering this to the inside of our shirt, which is going to allow us to not only see a design, make it vibrant using traditional sublimation, but utilize dark colors and cotton. So, while this design is printing, I went ahead and printed one earlier because what I want to do is kind of see where my design is going to be when I go to cut my slits into my shirt. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my computer, I'm going to get my t-shirt set up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the slits in my shirt. So let me just move this. And for those of you who might be wondering, where did you get this piece of polyester fabric? You can get it from dealers. Some hobby shops sell it as well. There we go. Here is our design, which is going to be all ready to go ahead and print. So I have a board here that I'm going to use to cut on. And I'm calling this a pizza cutter because to me it looks like a little itty bitty pizza cutter. And I'm going to use this to cut my fabric. So I'm going to take my t-shirt and I'm going to put this board on the inside of it. Now, I've seen some people do this online, and I've seen a lot of people use cardboard, which is totally fine. I'm just choosing to use this board, which I believe is used more for sewing and cutting sewing material. So let me get my t-shirt stuffed with this board, get it centered. Then what I'm going to do is take my design. Remember, I printed two. One is for sublimating, one is for measurement. I'm going to stick this design on my board. So as you can see, I'm going a little higher with my design than I normally would on my shirt because I want the focus to be this heart, not all of this area around it. So I'm probably going to start cutting a little bit lower than the top and end cutting a little bit higher than the bottom. So the tip of my board is right about here, and I'll probably start cutting around where it starts. So what I'm going to do is tape down my design to my shirt. I want to make sure that no one's asking any questions. Okay, good. So I'm going to tape this down to my shirt. And you don't have to use heat transfer tape. You can really use any tape that you want that's going to adhere. That's just what we have around. And now the fun begins. This part's fun. So I'm feeling around on my shirt. Here is the tip of my board, which is right below where my neckline is. So I'm probably going to start cutting about here. And I will admit, I'm not very good at doing things in like a straight line motion. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this as best I can, as straight as I can. There you go. And like I said before, I've seen this is becoming a very popular trend. So if you are doing this in your shop, I would love to see what you've come up with. So please send a picture to us or tag us on Instagram. All right, so I believe I've got this exactly how I want it. Just going to close that up. Be careful of that blade. Now I'll take this off. So here's what my paper now looks like. Again, this is not the paper that I'm using for sublimation. I have another one. I've seen people do this without using an image they've already printed. I've seen them do it with blank paper. That's totally fine too. In my opinion, this just better helps you visualize the space that you're working with. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I want to hold up my T-shirt for you all so you can see what my T-shirt looks like as well. Let me get rid of this mat. So as you can see, here is the spacing of these on my T-shirt. So it is all set and ready to go. But first, I need to press my polyester. So here is my sheet. I measured it just slightly larger than 11 by 17. Once again, I am not very good at cutting. I don't know how I ever passed kindergarten on that one. But what I'm going to do is quickly just press this because it does have quite a few wrinkles in it. And I want to make sure that when we go to sublimate on it, get rid of there, that when we go to sublimate on it, that none of these creases have any impact on how our image sublimates onto this sheet. So I'm just going to quickly, for a few seconds, just get this pressed and flattened out. And I'm going to press this like I press any other polyester shirt. That's 385 degrees, anywhere between 45 seconds and 1 minute. This, because we're just pressing it, I pressed it for about 15 seconds. And as you can see here, nice and flat and ready to be pressed on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back down on our press and then lay our design on top of it. And what I'll do is I can go ahead and trim up this fabric when we're done so that it better suits my needs for when I am pressing this shirt. Lori says that Vic should probably add an acrylic sewing ruler to my shopping list. Yeah, I will admit, when it comes to sewing, that's not something I'm very good at. I'm better with sublimation and vinyl. Anything else, not exactly my forte. So we are pressing this 385 seconds for a minute. And again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I know a lot of people are watching. I'm sure you all are just eager to learn. I'm eager to teach, but I'm also eager to answer any questions you have about sublimation. So don't feel like you can't ask any questions, because you certainly can. Heather says that she stinks at sewing. I actually had to sew a quilt in elementary school twice, and yeah, my great-grandmother had to help me with that one. Okay. So here's our design, all ready to go. So now what I need to do is put it into my shirt. So I'm going to take this shirt and turn it inside out. And I'm going to place this onto my press and kind of get everything situated here. Everything kind of flattened out. Oop, this one little piece is still slightly connected. We don't want that. Well, I can fix that in a second. There we go. So now I kind of just want to measure everything up and make sure I kind of have it where I want. So I'll probably trim this down a little bit. So I'm going to take some scissors. Oh, here we go. And I need some overlapping space from where the rips end to where my fabric ends, because I need to adhere this to my shirt using a heat activated tape. But I don't need too much overlaying space. So what I'll probably do is adhere it first and then trim as necessary once it's on there. So this is the tape that I'm using. Let me pull it up here. This is a heat and bond ultra hold tape. You can get it at just about any crafting store. So that's what I'm going to use for this. So I'm going to put a layer down and I'm going to then press it for 2 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is put the fabric on there and then press it for 7-8 seconds. Let me double check. Haha, 8 seconds. So let me go ahead and measure this out really quickly. All right, there's one piece. Just going to stick this right here. There we go. It's just kind of a loose measurement. And we'll do this one last side. All right. Okay, I'm just going to put this over here. And just quickly press this for 2 seconds. Still at 385 degrees. And then they say to let it cool. So I'm going to just let it cool down for a sec. And then what I'm going to do is this sheet of paper that is on top of this tape, I'm going to peel it off, and that'll expose another sticky side of that tape. Then I'll be able to put this sheet on there so that this will stick, and then we can trim our excess area. Let's just give this a second to cool down. And it's pretty cool, so I'm going to go ahead, take this off. Someone said, could you use a tank top under that t-shirt instead of a heat and bond? So are you saying sublimate a tank top, put the t-shirt on, cut holes in a t-shirt, and put the t-shirt on top of the tank top? Yeah, for sure. It might be uncomfortable to wear two shirts, but you could definitely do that. Or I guess you're wondering, could you sew the tank top into the shirt? And my answer would also be probably yes. You just be a little bit more involved. So let's go ahead and get this set up on here. All right, looks like everything is, I believe, exactly where I want it to be actually. Let's move this to the side just a little bit. Just gonna move it to the side a little bit more. Kind of get this a little bit more centered. All right, there's good, and okay. Just want to make sure that we are as centered as possible on here, so that we don't have any white showing. I think that we are good. All right. So let's go ahead and press this for 8 seconds. Someone wants to know where you can get the adhesive tape. You can get that at any craft store. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this cool so it can bond. So if you start to peel it off while it's still hot, that glue is still wet and that adhesion hasn't gone through all the way. So I'm going to let that cool down. Someone wants to know how long it holds up for how many washes. You know, I'm not entirely sure because this is fairly new and popular. My guess is for quite a few, I don't think it'll have the longevity of some other items you can make, but I see this as definitely being more of just a fun project that you can do on the side. Let's see. Yeah, and Lori's right. You can find this Heat Bond Ultra tape in the sewing aisle normally. Yep. As Claudia said, normally used for embroidery. You can find it in the sewing section of most craft stores. So this is pretty well bonded. What I'm just going to do now is trim it up just a little bit. Someone said, Monica said it's held up for me for years on a shirt, so that's great to know. Claudia said heat and bond holds up pretty well in a few washes. I would say 20 to 30 washes. That is great. So I'm just going to step over here and just trim this up just a little bit. I'm not going to be like my dad was on Facebook Live and cut through the shirt, but I just want to trim this up a little bit since we don't need all of this excess material. There we go. Just a little bit on each side, just to make it slightly more comfortable. And you could pre-trim this ahead of time. I just like trimming it afterwards so I don't accidentally overcut, because you can always take some off. You can never put some back on. Just gonna quickly trim a little bit here. And then we'll do some on top, and then we'll have our big reveal. Just a little bit close to the collar, so I wanted to trim it up here. All right, there we go. So here we go. It looks like some of these are a little stuck together, so what I'll do is just cut a few of these apart because I didn't go all the way through. So here we go. Makes it a little bit easier to see. And that's the great thing about this too. Afterwards, you can go through with some scissors and just kind of adjust this. And what I've done too is in the past gone ahead and just kind of pulled them a little bit, just to make these a little bit scrunched up and a little bit looser. You know what I'll do is I'll put it on, make it a little bit easier to see. So here, I'll get to the close-up camera here so you can take a look. So here it is. As you can see, that whole design underneath here, really great pop of color. This is, again, a great new popular trend. You can definitely trim these up, pull them a little bit just to make it a little bit more visible, a little bit looser looking. Let's see, we got some comments rolling in here. Maria says, wow, 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 with a bunch of hearts. My aunt says she loves it. So like if Aunt Karen likes it, then like everyone should like this, right? Susan said that is pretty cool. So yeah, so this is how you make this shirt. What I've found too is it looks best in kind of a grungy look. So band t-shirts. So if you're looking at a way to potentially market this, like how do I market this to somebody? How do I sell something like this? Why would I ever use a look like this? Band shirts, any vintage type of look. I've seen people do it with band names on it. I myself made one yesterday with the image of the evil queen from Snow White in it with a grungy background. I can't post it and I couldn't show you guys today because I do not, well, I technically own the licensing to the image, but I am not the artist that created the image. So that's probably some of the best ways to use a shirt like this. Charna says, love it. Sabrina says, go crazy, amazing. My aunt wants one, so I'll have to send her one. My husband said he needs one. I'm not sure what I would make for that. Honey, you can wear the one that I brought home last night. He probably likes some fishing design in here. So this is how you make this shirt. Super fun. Like I said, a great way to utilize cotton and dark colors in a way that we have not been able to utilize them before. So, any questions? Probably could have gone a little bit wider, but Susan wants to know, where do you get your shirts? That's a great question. Jimmy Lamb recently just brought in like a big box of shirts and plopped them down and said, I've had these at my house. We can use them here. I have no idea where he got them from. But I would highly recommend that you either go to a crafting store or utilize a dealer that services your area. So even the dealer that you purchased your machine from, you can go to our dealer locator on our website and find that person. Let's see, and I've seen a lot of really cool designs that people have made using this technique, so it's really fun and really cool. So, what questions does everybody have? This actually didn't take as much time as I thought it was going to, so we have a ton of time for questions if anybody has any. While we wait, I want to, so Augusta says, wow, can't wait to make one myself. Awesome. So while we wait, I want to remind everybody that the next episode of our Ink Differently podcast comes out tomorrow. We are talking to somebody who is a trained silhouette teacher, and she tells us how you can utilize silhouette and sublimation. So something we haven't really talked about before on the podcast. That will air tomorrow, probably afternoon. You can find Ink Differently on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, and sawgrassinc.com. So that podcast you can expect tomorrow afternoon. We also have our Sawgrass Academy. If you are new to sawgrass or new to sublimation and want to learn more about sublimation in general, you can go to our free Sawgrass Academy, academy.sawgrassinc.com, or just in the header bar of our sawgrassinc.com homepage. And there you can learn everything from sublimation to how to use sawgrass products to how to start a business using sublimation. Extremely helpful, and again, completely free to use. Let's see. Someone wants to know, can you repeat the time and temperature? Absolutely, Sabrina. We press this at 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 minute. Susan says, this 58-year-old mom grandma wants one. Susan, you rock. You're not a regular mom. You're a cool mom. Let's see. So someone said that they missed the beginning of the live broadcast. Will it be available in a bit to watch later? And that answer is yes. This will live on our Facebook page, on our timeline, and in our video section. So you can head there to watch this again. You can also go to YouTube where you can watch it there as well. So 2 locations where you can watch this. Okay. Any other questions? I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I haven't told you guys. Oh, my goodness, of course, our Sublimation Olympics. So, our Sublimation Olympics is currently in full swing. We have had a lot of entries. A lot of really great entries from all over the world. All over the world. It's been really cool seeing all these entries come in. So, our Sublimation Olympics, what it is you have to submit a design that represents your country. It can use your country colors, the flag, food, anything you want. It's a design that represents your country. Post it on our Facebook page underneath any of the areas where we talk about the Sublimation Olympics, or tag us on Instagram, or even just send us a message with your design. And next week, our esteemed panel of international judges, and Vic, and Jimmy, and myself, will all go ahead and take a look at them, and we'll be judging them. And whoever wins, because we obviously, it's the Olympics, we have a gold, silver, and bronze medal. So the bronze medal, the bronze medal winner will have the opportunity to win 2 free cartridges of ink of their choice. The silver medalist will get a full set of inks, and the gold medalist will win a free SG-1000 with inks. So, design that represents your country, post it on our Facebook page, send us a message. Our team will narrow it down to a top 10, and then we will vote live via Zoom next Wednesday at this time on Facebook Live. So next Wednesday at 3 o'clock is when we will reveal who the winner is live. We'll do a full live voting system. You guys can tune in and watch. make sure, please, 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 get those entries in no later than next Wednesday morning. Because next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be voting. So get those entries in for a chance to win a free SG-1000. Big rule, number one rule, you cannot use licensed Olympics imaging. That's it. You cannot use licensed Olympic imaging. They will be disqualified. Other than that, please send in your submissions. All right. So, are there any more questions? Again, the podcast will come out tomorrow afternoon. Ink Differently, that is on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, Sawgrassinc.com. Check out the Academy. We are back next Wednesday for the Sublimation Olympics finals. And I think that's about it. So thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.